Hey there, everybody. Sorry, drinking my water here. So let's walk through some of the stuff to get our large container into Quixel and basically just make a average run-of-the-mill, no frills kind of material set with Dedo, knowing that I'm then going to delete all that and redo it in Engine. We'll worry about that when we get there. So I've got my container loaded up here in Maya and it's unwrapped, and I am aware that I'm I'm really going to want more pixel resolution for the size of this container. That is something that's just going to drive me absolutely batty, but it is what it is, and I'll just deal with it and go from there. Okay, so yeah, let's do our first thing. I'm going to go ahead and create an OBJ file because I will need that in Maya, or I'm sorry, in Quixel. So let's see, I'll just go here to, I'll go to my, let's see, I'll go to my desktop. Sure, desktop sounds good. And I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call this large container material set. That'll be cool. And then inside here, I'm going to have another folder called DDO, and then I'll save everything else I need right in here. Okay, so yeah, sounds good. All right, so let's move that out of the way. So now I have my object selected. Looks good. Let's do a file export selection. And I'm going to put this in my large container folder. And I'm going to make sure that in my files of type that it is obj export all the way down to the bottom. And let's call this large container. And materials, I'm going to make sure that is off right here. Okay, so let's just export that. And then our next thing is to create a color ID for this thing. So for my color ID, I'm going to need a copy of this object here. So let's go ahead and bring up our window, our outliner, and let's just snap it over here somewhere. That'll do good enough. So large container, that's the name of this guy. That sounds pretty good. So I've got them selected, press W. Okay, yeah, and my pivot points there in the middle from when I started my unwrap. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this. So to do that, I can just come up here to edit and go to duplicate right there. And large container 1 is the copy, but I'm going to rename that over here. I'm going to call this color map, like so. And now, so that I don't have to worry about moving them or anything, I'm just going to go to the large container, press H to hide it. And now I've just got my color map version. All right, so let's go ahead and get some materials made for this guy really quick. So I'll go ahead and bring up my UV editor. And I don't need my toolkit for this stuff. Let's just kind of, you know what, let's go ahead, go to Window, let's go to Workspaces, let's go to our UV editing workspace. There we go, that'll be fine. And I'm going to right click, go to UV Shell, and I'm going to start off with this big chunk right here. So I've got it selected, I'll come over to here, hold down right mouse button, assign favorite material, Lambert. And I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call this container base. Sure. Container base. And I'm going to give this a color to make it easy to identify. Oh, let's go with yellow. Sure. Yellow sounds good to me. All right. And if it's not showing up over here, we'll just go to shading, turn our hardware texturing on and off to kind of force this refresh there. Hardware texturing. There we go. All right. So let's see. Let's get some other things. So what? This. And by using my UV shell, that's going to make this a little bit easier for me. And then I can just wander over to this side and just start selecting some things over here. See, I think that's all of the skid plate kind of pieces. I'm going to say that's all for now. Oops, I didn't want to move any of them though. And right mouse button, assign favorite material, Lambert. And I will call this one skid plate. And give it a color of not yellow. Green. Green's not yellow. Okay. There we go. Let's see, next up. All of these, let's see, this thing right here. Remember, I'd split these apart last time because these I kind of thought should be like a bare metal going inside those. So I'm going to do that and that. And see, I should have some over here too, right? And if I remember how I laid things out here, that helps. Because these right here are going to be the end caps for those. There we go. All right, I've got those selected. Come out here, hold down the right mouse button, assign favorite material, Lambert. And this time this will be, what is this? This isn't really a hinge. This is, I'm going to call it, it's not really hydraulic either. I'm going to call it shock housing. I don't think that's the proper name for it, but this kind of makes me think of shock, so I'm going to call it shock housing. And give it a color of red. Sure. All right. Now I want the inner part, this part. Now, once again, if I remember how I laid things out, it's going to be that, and that, and that, and that, that. All right, got those selected. Right-click and assign favorite material, Lambert. And what? Shock insert. It's the piece that goes inside the shock housing. Let's see, I've used red, yellow. Let's use this teal color. All right. Next up, let's grab all these bolts that we got wandering all around. And once again, these are largely right here. There's two top ones on each side. There's two bottom ones on each side. And then there's these two long ones. So this is where you start to see how we laid things out is becoming really helpful for us now. So I don't want these pieces up here. Turn them off. Doink, doink, doink. There we go. Yeah, all right. So come out here and let's do a right mouse click, assign favorite material, Lambert. And this is just going to be my bolts. Bolts. And what color am I up to now? I've done teal, so this is just going to be regular blue. Sure. Okay, let's see these brackets. Actually, you know, this stuff right here I kind of think should be the same material as my base, as the base container itself. And these were what, that one and that one. All right, so let's right click. This time we'll do an assign existing material, and because I've been labeling these things, it's easy to find it. Now I'm after a container base right there. Link. And it's yellow. That doesn't seem right. Why are you yellow? Right click. Assign existing material, skid plates, shock insert, shock housing, container. That's odd. Container base. It's yellow. I don't know why it's yellow. I do not think it should be yellow. So I'm going to come over here, click shock housing. Yeah, it's not yellow, it's red. Why are you yellow? That is so incredibly odd that it's almost disturbing to me. Oh well, I'll leave that alone for now. Oops, I moved that one. Darn it. Okay, so let's see. Let's look up here. You know, these pieces up here, I'm going to make them the same basic material as the, what's that called down there at the bottom? The skid plate. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so I've got those selected. Right click, assign existing material, skid plate. All right. I have no idea why that's yellow. That is so strange. Let's see, these mounts that are down here. They'd probably look weird if they weren't the same type of material as those skid plates, don't you think? So, what does that mean for me? You know what that means? Then I'm going to have to zoom in here. So I think all of these are these pieces up here. All right. And then I'm going to assign those to the skid plate also. Assign existing material, skid plate. There we go. These pieces, I think I'll make these the same material as the container itself. Okay, so that's going to be that, and that, and that, and that. And still that, and still, okay, fine. that. And now I can get that, yes. And then these guys over here. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. All right, let's come over here, do a right click, assign existing material, and I'm gonna do container base on them, and that's yellow too. That is so strange. It's not yellow. I'm almost confused. Okay, so it looks like I've got my materials assigned. I'm just kind of glancing through here, seeing if I'm missing anything. I mean, other than the really odd yellow, which just absolutely baffles me because it's definitely red, so I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, looks like everything's assigned. So I'm going to go ahead and bake these out really quick and see how that works out. So let's go back to our window workspace. I'll just go back to our standard modeling right here. And I'm done with that. Let's do F8 until I'm in object mode here. I really wish those weren't yellow. Okay, I'm going to select my large container, unhide it. There we go. It is now back. All right, so let's set up our transfer maps. So I'm going to go ahead and select large container because when we're doing our transfer maps, the one that we have selected automatically goes into the target. So up here, top left, where it says modeling, let's change that to rendering. Go to lighting and shading. Go to transfer maps, like so. And you can see target was automatically assigned the large container. So let's open up source mesh. I'm going to select color map. Let's add selected there. Scroll down. I'm going to do a diffuse. Oh, it's already there. Well, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to do a diffuse. And I'm going to save this to my desktop inside my large container folder there. I want to save this as a TGA because that's just what I like using. Oops, I missed. There it is. I'm going to call this color ID. There we go. Save that out like so. File type Targa. Yeah. Use Maya common settings. Yes. And let's look at Maya common settings. So I'm going to do 2048 is good. High is probably good. I mean, medium would work fine as well. Okay, so yeah, that's basically ready to go. Actually, before I do that, though, I'm going to close out of this real quick and go to my large container, go to my modeling menu. I skipped one thing I would like to do just in case I need it. Let's go to UV editor. And then I'm going to go to image, UV snapshot. And I'm going to go ahead and save this out. 2048 is good. Green. I mean, I guess green will be... Well, I've got green down there. So I'm going to put white lines. See how that works. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and where am I going to save this to? Large container material set. Yeah, from tool settings. I'm going to call this UV layout just in case I need it. Let's save that. And we'll go ahead and do an apply and close. All right, now I can close my UV editor. And I can see back here in my large container file folder that I have my UV layout. I thought I saved an OBJ file. Did I save it out there? Okay, well, there's my OBJ file. I don't know why it's out there. So there's the OBJ file that we had already exported. So now we just need to bake out our color map. So back to rendering and lighting and shading and transfer maps. And it should have all of our settings from before. Nope, I lied. My color map needs to be add selected again. Diffuse. It's going to save to container material set, color ID, yes. Target, yes. Common, 2048, yes. And high, yes. And we are going to bake and close. And this won't take too long. And then once this is done baking, we will see you in the next one where we pull this into Photoshop and double check some things.